Hey guys, it's Aman
And Christina
from Our Rich Journey.
In today's video, we are going to be talking to you about the inevitable recession. So in the last recession, Aman and I actually got promotions, we got new jobs, and we started investing in more real estate.
Oh, and we started a side hustle.
So in this video, we're going to talk about the next recession. We want to talk about how you can survive during the next recession, and not only survive, but also thrive.
So we broke this video down into two parts. First, we're going to talk about how to survive, and then we're going to talk about how to thrive. It's important that you watch the whole thing because they build upon one another. So let's start with the survive.
The first thing about surviving in a recession is really understanding your unemployment benefits. Now, in the last recession, at the height of the last recession, in 2008 and 2009, only 50% of people that were eligible for unemployment benefits applied for those benefits.
That is astonishing to me. Only 50% of eligible people applied for unemployment. So beyond just knowing that you're eligible for unemployment, you also need to understand how unemployment works. So how much time you'll receive the unemployment and how much that unemployment will be. Those are very important points because it's going to determine how you manage your expenses. Now, something else that's really important is that if you're a W-2 employee or you're self-employed, your unemployment benefits are going to work differently. Now, it's pretty straightforward if you're a W-2 employee because the state in most cases will pay your unemployment. But if you're self-employed or you own your own business, then in some cases you have to purchase your unemployment insurance separately.
The point is to really just understand your unemployment benefits. We can't go into all this detail about it because, like Aman said, it really varies depending on your situation. So for person to person, it could be completely different. But the idea behind this is really understand your own situation and what you'd be eligible for in terms of unemployment benefits.
The next thing is have an emergency fund. Now, you should always have an emergency fund, not just for a recession, but for everyday life. And on this channel, we talk about having an emergency fund that is about 3 to 6 months worth of your expenses.
And the third tip is not to overextend yourself. When the economy is doing really well, people may tend to go out and purchase the new cars, the expensive cars, the new homes, all the space that they don't necessarily need in a home. But this is not the time to do it. And actually, we suggest that it's never really a time to do it.
Yeah.
But with an impending recession, you really don't want to overextend yourself.
So the next tip, which ties into don't overextend yourself, is to pay off bad debt. So bad debt can be like high interest credit cards, balloon payments, high interest loans, all of these things that when a recession hits and your income comes down or you lose your income, these things can eat you alive. So take the opportunity now while things are going well to pay off all of that debt.
And the last tip for surviving in a recession, and this is sort of, I guess, unconventional because it's what a lot of people did that we're suggesting you don't do, which is go back to school. The tip here is do not go back to school during a recession.
Yeah, so people go back to school because they feel like they have nothing else to do. Like it's the default thing to do during a recession. And if you look at the stats, during the last recession, more people than ever went to grad school. And it was almost a way to just kind of go and kind of figure things out. Now, it's fine if you have a desire to go to grad school or go back to school, but don't do it just because there's nothing else to do.
Now, if you go back to school during the recession, it can hit you in two ways. The first way is if you go back to school full time, then it's taking place of the income that you could be getting from working. And the second thing is when you go back to school, you're generally obtaining more loans to go back to school, so you're getting further in debt. So it hits you two ways. And the idea here is not to say that there under no circumstances should you go to school during a recession, but when you're thinking about the hits that you take when you go back to school, we really encourage you to think about the cost-benefit analysis when you're deciding whether or not to go to school during a recession.
So let's talk about the fun stuff, how to thrive during a recession. So during the last recession, we really took advantage of all of the opportunities that are available. And so let's start with the first.
The first piece of advice we have for you is to consider starting a business. Now, there are a lot of great corporations that started a business during the recession. Businesses such as IBM, General Electric, General Motors, even Disney started during a recession. And one of the great things about starting a business during the recession is that the government is looking for people to start businesses because they want more jobs to be created. So they give a lot of incentives for people to start businesses.
But there's also something else that's going on. There are businesses that are failing, and those businesses that are failing are going to be on sale. So it's also a good opportunity to buy a failing business. Now, it could be failing for a number of reasons. The owner could have overextended themselves with too many loans. Whatever the case may be, there may be an opportunity for you to buy that business at a discount, and so that when the recession turns around, you may have a thriving business. Something else that's also really powerful about this period is that people are willing to make deals. So it could be a deal with buying another business, but it could also be a deal on maybe getting land, or maybe it's getting labor, or maybe services in exchange. So this brings us to our next point, which is buying real estate. Buying real estate during a recession seems like a no-brainer. Like, prices will be lower, of course, right? But there's also something else that's taking place. Landowners or property owners are willing to make deals, and they can make some pretty unconventional deals during a recession. So you can get things like owner financing. You can do things like lease options. You can do a number of creative real estate things during a recession that normally, when the economy is booming and real estate prices are going up very high, landowners and property owners are not willing to make those same types of deals.
The next tip is about being willing to be mobile and move around for promotions. Now, during the last recession, Iman and I actually got new jobs, promotions, we got paid even more, and this was because we were willing to move around. And at the time, we had 2 daughters, so we were a family of 4, and we had real estate also. But we decided to pick up and move to Japan, and we had a lot of great opportunities resulting because of it.
Yeah, so recessions can be local, they can be regional, or they can be happening in your state or in your country. And for us, while the recession was taking place in the US, we found jobs abroad in Japan, where in our particular field abroad, it was booming. So this is just one of those things about being willing to move, being mobile, because even though the opportunities may be limited in your area, there's always opportunities somewhere else.
And the last tip is to invest in the stock market. Now, we've made tons of videos about how to invest in the stock market and the benefits of investing in the stock market. So if you're already investing in the stock market during the recession, continue to do so. And if you haven't begun investing in the stock market, during the recession is a great time to begin investing.
Now, that's easier said than done, because the psychology of investing when you're seeing the market go down is very challenging. It's very hard for you to put money into something when you think it's failing. But in fact, what you're doing is you're shopping and buying things on sale. So it's a great opportunity to continue to be consistent. Now, if you don't have the money available to invest in the stock market, that's a different story. But if you can muster up anything at all to continue to invest in the stock market, please continue to do that. Because when the market rebounds, and it will, because it always does, it will be significant.
So those are our tips on how to survive the recession, but also how to thrive during the recession. So if you like this video, make sure you give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and join the journey.